Welcome to Advertising Champions, your go-to destination for insights into the dynamic world of advertising and marketing. I'm Tony Stanol, and today we're talking with Victor Cornejo, who is with Tell Me Mas. So I want to hear more. Welcome, Victor.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Tony.
Sure. Now you have an advertising agency background leading up to Tell Me Mas, but tell us a little about that really quickly, and then we'll get into what you're doing today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have a 20-year career in the multicultural advertising industry, beginning here in Dallas, Texas at Dieste, and then on to the Lerma agency, and then most recently moved into the media sales side of the business. This year I decided to take a step back and launch this podcast, which has been on my mind and on my heart to launch for years. And I'm finally giving myself a chance to do so.
Got it. And with your experience in the multicultural world, I'm guessing that's what your focus is now, and the name kind of gave it away too.
Well, it's actually interesting because it is not a multicultural or a Latino-focused podcast necessarily. And what I mean by that is the name Tell Me Mas it's a podcast about learning, and it's about discussing current issues and really any topic that I want. What my advertising career did teach me, especially on the media side, is that there is a perspective that is very underrepresented, and when it is represented, most often than not, it is misrepresented, and that is the perspective that I represent, which is a first or second generation bilingual, bicultural Latino. So the emphasis, or sort of the impetus for the podcast, is to really represent that point of view. And for example, when we're discussing current issues, or for example, politics, unfortunately, this population continues to be treated like a monolith, right? Or when we are discussing marketing or advertising campaigns and strategies for reaching this particular audience, it continues to be very one-dimensional and not truly as nuanced as it should. And so I really want to talk to leaders in various categories and various spaces, as well as cover current issues that are happening in the world, and really discussing it from a very nuanced and authentic perspective.
Got it. Now, what are some of the themes that come out of these conversations with people?
Well, often it is, for example, how it could be like a person's career, right? Their advertising career, and where they perhaps had a certain path, certain guidance. Perhaps, someone like me didn't have that particular advantage, or simply just didn't have access to some of the information that would have led to, a more successful career or advancing more quickly. So that's one particular example. Or, as I'd mentioned, when someone is talking about a particular issue, let's say, Christianity in the political realm at this point, the perspective from someone like me is going to be very different. And so that's the sort of nuance and insight that comes from that.
Got it. And do you get into any hot topics that might be controversial, or do you try to keep it straight?
No, I'm completely open to tackling those issues. Those are real life issues, and the truth is that there's such a growing population of folks turning to podcasts for actual news, and they really expect that those shows do it in an authentic manner. That's why so many are turning to it for news these days, which is really interesting. Yet all of those folks, 25% of the population actually turns into podcasts, and a quarter of those do it every single day. But none of them do that, in search of podcasts owned or operated by, the mainstream media. And so it's absolutely, there is no topic that I won't be speaking about. And I certainly will be speaking about topics that, from my perspective, you're not going to find out there. For example, mental health, or relationship advice. And these things are often not spoken about in these communities. So I definitely want to tackle those topics, but then offer my perspective on that.
Got it. Well, very interesting, Victor. Tell us where we could find you.
Well, we're on YouTube, Tell Me Mouse Pod, and then everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, essentially anywhere you listen to your podcast. It's a video podcast, so certainly invite everyone to go to YouTube and check that out. And then everywhere you listen to your audio podcasts.
Very good. Well, nice talking with you, Victor.
I appreciate it, Tony.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Advertising Champions. You could find more information at dailynewsnetwork.com, and we'll see you next time.
We've been around for 16 years, working with clients, with thousands of clients. We're working with agencies to be able to scale them and grow them and provide them services that would cost them way more than it would for them to do it themselves. Anything oriented around lead generation, video creation, web design, we're full service, so we can really serve most people.